The West Virginia Mountaineers keep closing in tighter and tighter with one of the nation's best. And I've got somebody that knows a lot about recruits to talk about that.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. Welcome back into Locked On West Virginia, where we're talking Mountaineer football again, of course, today. Thank you so much for joining in, guys. I'm not alone, obviously, and we love having this guy on. We've had him on before. We're talking about Locked On Portals, Brian Smith. Appreciate you so much for coming on here, man. You know, we really, really appreciate your time. Guys, thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We talk about your team, the Mountaineers, every single day. So, Brian, obviously, you know, to keep you up to date here, they know I've been texting with Kevin here and there, and things of West Virginia have gotten hot. Obviously, he hasn't decommitted from Penn State yet, formally, and I'm not sitting here saying that he will or won't. I know that West Virginia is really in this thing, but so is Ohio State. But, you know, you've seen Kevin live. You know a lot about him. Kind of explain to everybody, you know, technically, and then we'll get into the overall impact in the next segment. What kind of player is this? And would this be a generation, like a Zach Frazier that came into West Virginia or a Wyatt Milam? Like, is this a generational type offensive lineman, or is it even beyond that?
I think it's a little bit of a combination. Athletically, Kevin was gifted, but more than anything else, like his muscle density is insane. Like how strong he is and everything else. Like when you stand next to him, if you take away, like you can see in the face that he's a teenager, but everything else says 26 years old.
Right.
Like literally. I'm not trying to be funny. But usually when I see guys that look like him, he looks muscle bound. He's not stiff. I was at Rivals 5-star and that's where I saw him live. It's different. Like film is great. There is nothing better than 5 feet away. There is no substitute. Play after play, what they're like in between plays, how they communicate with their coaches, all those things. You can only do that live. And I would not have had the same opinion of him if I hadn't seen him live. Holy cow. Like there were elite players. We were at the Colts facility in Indianapolis. That's where they held it. And it's just the best from around the country, from California to DC, from, you know, New Jersey to Miami, all over the country. And he was as good a lineman as there was there on either side of the ball in pass pro. Usually big guys like him that are that muscle bound, that strong, they're run blockers. They're guys that are probably going to play guard. And he may play guard at West Virginia or Ohio State or whatever he ends up doing, but he can play tackle. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure he can play left tackle. I was shocked because his ability to bend at the knees and his ability to kick step, he's taken his craft seriously.
His kick step, yeah. His
kick step is really good.
Yeah.
And again, I knew it was on film, but it's not the same because at the high school level.
I would like to see
it. You see him go against kids that have zero chance against him because he can use the worst technique ever and he just throws the guy like a rag doll.
Yeah.
But against kids that are going to Ohio State and going to Penn State, etc., there's no hiding. If your technique is off, you get smoked.
Yeah.
Especially because they don't have pads on. The D linemen have huge advantage. And he was winning reps. He buried a few guys. Now, he didn't win every single rep, but he won the award for the second year in a row for top lineman at Rivals 5-star. That's not accidental.
And yet he's like a smidgen off from 5-star. It's like, give him the 5th star already, you know?
Yeah, I don't know how they figure all that stuff out.
Right. I'm sure their competition level and all whatever comes into play, I'm sure. But and that's another question because you're a lot more dug into this than I am. 6A, PA, you know, what level of high school football is that comparatively to, like, let's say D1 Ohio or even Virginia, or we can go Florida or California, but we all know it's not quite that high of a level, I'm assuming. I know PA is good.
It depends on where you're at exactly, like the exact towns and stuff. But some of the kids that he went against in high school, like PA's got pretty good football, but like the difference in speed, like if I stuck Kevin down at one of the private schools in Broward County in Fort Lauderdale area, every kid you go up against on the other side, even if it's a team that finishes 4-5 and doesn't make the playoff, that kid across from you is at least playing FCS. Every kid.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're like, if you're playing at American Heritage or St. Thomas Aquinas or, like Chaminade Madonna, where Jeremiah Smith played or something. They were 1A, and they were as good as any team in the state of Florida. Because they all recruit. There's about 6-7 schools get all players. So it's different. So you can't just go by level. But Kevin, some of the kids he's going against PA, yeah, he throws them around. But he's doing the same thing with kids that are going to Big Ten and SEC schools.
At these camps.
Yeah, so I don't care about the other stuff. Like
Right.
you can teach O-line play, and it's a lifelong learning skill.
Yeah.
He's already got some of it. He likes it.
Lucky about his dad, too, I guess. Is an already a lineman.
Yeah. If he's got a question, he walks down the hallway. It's different when you have that kind of personality where you want it, and you also have access to information that most do not.
Mm-hmm.
So Kevin's legs, by the way, are similar to that of like a strong man or something. Like it doesn't look like he has to buy some unusual pants, I would imagine, like how big his upper legs are and stuff. He's a squat rack. So all of that, he's into it. He has to be more than just gifted. He wants it. So all of that combines to me. Conservatively, he's a top 5 O lineman in the nation. Just depends on what scheme he plays in and all that, because O line is so complex.
His dad told me, I was quoted something, I can't remember what it was, when I was first starting to cover, and he was like, he actually runs it was a 40 time. He's like, actually it's 4.840, not a 5.2 or whatever I quoted. You know how sometimes you get
Sure.
something that's from a sophomore year or whatever. He's like, no, I've never run that. I'm like, okay, I made a mistake. But he was telling me some interesting stuff, how he's personally kind of trained Kevin over the years, and how he's had to be really careful about that, because your generation and his generation all knew about the kid that played for the Raiders, right? That his dad trained him, I think they had him robo quarterback. Yeah, Marinovich, Tom Marinovich.
He didn't even have a McDonald's hamburger till he was like out of high school.
Yeah, it's in a very extreme case,
Sure.
I worked for him, I guess, but so I think guys are probably cognizant of that. He was trying to make sure like he didn't burn Kevin out and things. But man, has he done a good job raising the kid? The conversation, he doesn't even sound like a kid either when he speaks.
He really doesn't.
He sounds like when he called me, I was like, "There's no way this is a kid," but it is. So yeah, I'm curious about him technically, because one of the things I looked at on his tape, and maybe you can speak a little more to it because you're quite frankly just better at this than I am, but his anchor, I was looking at it when guys go speed to power on him, he really doesn't, but like he's one of those dudes that like bull rushing him, not a good idea, which you speak to the leg size. Can you talk about some more of the more technical aspects of his game, like his hands and things, like, because he's really good at a lot of the stuff that's already like advanced compared to your typical kid that needs some development.
I thought it was interesting the way he used his hands. And keep in mind, this was like in June, so it's been a minute, but there were a couple of plays where he's at tackle and they're just doing, basic pass rush stuff, and they do not have pads. Again, massive advantage for the defensive side of the football.
Yeah.
And he kick steps, and he gets low, and he doesn't shoot his hands. He doesn't like get up over his toes. That's a common phrase. Like a couple of my buddies are O-line trainers and stuff. One of them played for the Patriots, etc. And they're always talking about that with younger guys. He's very balanced. He's up on his haunches. He's not standing back and just waiting and getting run over when a guy goes speed to power or anything else. And then he would quickly just kind of randomly picking when he would. The guy showed his chest, his ability. It didn't matter if it was right or left hand, depending on which direction the guy came from. He would smack the guy in the chest with a one-hand shiver, and it was over. Because Kevin's strength is so much better than most high school kids, right. Just like it is for him on a Friday night. He's probably pretty bored playing high school football, because linemen, that's why we go to these events when any of us, like myself or Andrew Ivins or Chad Simmons, anybody else, we go watch the linemen at all these events because they never have good on Friday nights as a general rule.
Right.
It's the skill guys. There's a million skill guys.
Right.
There's only so many good linemen. That's why Saban was always after it. It's not hard to figure out. So like when he was doing that, I'm like, okay, he's obviously been taught, because there's no way he's had that many good reps, because there's like 3 kids in PA that can compete with him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's probably
right.
Virginia, et cetera. All these things are good, but that's collectively. There's 15 receivers that could maybe play at Penn State that are in the state of Pennsylvania. What, 3 linemen? maybe. You know what I mean?
Maybe. Right.
You know what I mean? It's just
we're lucky if we get one from West Virginia every couple years.
That's what I'm saying. Like the Millam kid a few years ago was really, really good. That was like, that's best lineman I remember ever come out of West Virginia. And he ended up being an NFL guy.
Yeah.
So those are rare things. But
and Zach Frazier. Yeah.
Like they're super rare. But when you get one, it can hopefully lead to another. And like kid like Kevin, I'm sure he's seen that and he's got ties to your program. So
yeah, we're excited about that.
I think he would start at West Virginia before the end of his freshman year. He just got, figure out the scheme and all that. Like I told you earlier today on text, I think he would probably start before the end of his year at Ohio State.
Right. Which is a huge statement.
Ohio State is by far the best program in the country right now, in my opinion.
Right.
So that's gets the kid, again, physically motivated to go to the weight room and do all that stuff, just God gifted. He's got the person down the hallway to help him. He enjoys the competition. He proved it against the elite competition, like everything. There's nothing that I can go, well, we're really worried about this with Kevin Brennan. No, this, barring injury, he's probably an NFL player.
Right. Up next, guys, what does a recruit like this? We're going to look into the future and just kind of hypothetically predict he goes to West Virginia. What does Brian think that does for a program like West Virginia that doesn't typically get these kind of players? Talk about that next. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by our friends at DoorDash. Right now with DoorDash, guys, it's pretty simple. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more on every order, these players delivered when it mattered most, and let's break it down. For West Virginia, obviously, we have to go with Dior Hubbard, delivering in a big way. 96 yards through the air, over 70 on the ground, close to 150 yards total in a breakout game, a win over Colorado. When the pressure was on, Dior Hubbard came through, no hesitation, no delay. And if you've been watching week after week, that wasn't a fluke for him. Dior Hubbard is on a streak. And just like Dior Hubbard delivered for West Virginia, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays with DoorDash Streaks. Every Saturday you order, you save. So stack it up all season, and you can save up to $250, including $100 in credits. But you have to order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day. Only with DoorDash where the terms apply. Promo code through 11/18. All right, we in segment 2. Brian, tell everybody where they can find you really quick before we get into this.
Sure. On X is probably the easiest way to find me. FB Scout _Florida. Again, that is FB Scout _Florida. Portal Podcast is my home, if you will. Spotify, Apple, Podbean, wherever you get your pods when you're walking around, just, going to the mall or wherever you're at. And if you want to use it on YouTube, absolutely, we're there as well. So that's the mainstay. I also do Locked On Seminoles. I doubt too many West Virginia fans care about Florida State, but I cover Florida State as well. Same thing, exact same platforms. Nice.
So, okay, we kind of broken down what kind of player Kevin is. Now let's just make in Fairyland a quick assumption that maybe Rich Rod pulls this thing off. I really do think West Virginia has a really great chance to do this, so it's not too big of a stretch right now. I showed this on the show the other day. Kevin told me he was making a point with, where is it? We had a picture of him. Where did it go? I had a picture of him on here somewhere. Sharon, he had the West Virginia gloves on at the Harrisburg game anyway. So, so in your opinion, there it is right there. So, what kind of program changing thing would a Kevin Brown be for West Virginia? You mentioned he would probably start in his freshman year. Would that signal, like, we're obviously involved with Terry Wiggins, who's a 4-star, Matt Sieg, who's a 4-star, other guys. Rich Rodriguez has said they want to get 8 to 10 transfer impact players per cycle now going forward. That means 4 5-star guys. Is it possible for West Virginia now in this day and age where money matters? Because we know the top recruits get paid. Not every Joe Schmo 3-star gets paid, but the top guys do, like Kevin Brown. They're fighting for hundreds of thousands of dollars. If West Virginia is willing to do that, do you think they can put themselves in a better spot going forward in just the regular recruiting?
Absolutely. West Virginia as a state is not great for high school recruits, but what's next to it is phenomenal. Virginia,
surrounded by it all.
In Ohio. I mean, if you just look at it this way.
Maryland, yeah.
like DC too. But like, just look at it this way, man. I grew up in Indiana, and that's a basketball state, but there's still like Indianapolis, etc. The Hoosiers get killed by Notre Dame, Ohio State, the same schools that kill West Virginia. But they've had several 3-star guys. One of their stud receivers, the guy that made that catch against Penn State, he's a 3-star kid.
Yeah.
From Indianapolis.
Yeah, definitely not disparaging 3 stars.
Yeah, but like that's the whole point. Like if you just supply a few here and there with your in-state and you get a handful of transfers and I don't know exactly what West Virginia's NIL is, but if you spend enough and hit the Pittsburgh area, etc., I doubt the next coach at Penn State's as good a recruiter as Franklin. He was elite. Very good recruiter. Say what you want about him on game day, but he knew what he was doing on a trail. Like legit.
For sure.
So they should get a few more PA kids. Like when I was growing up, West Virginia used to beat Joe Pa for recruits all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Notre Dame. They would beat Michigan, etc. It's not as much now, but if your NIL goes up a little bit and you guys win a few more games, why not? Yeah, I'm not saying they're going to be automatically Texas Tech overnight because what they're spending is insane. That guy's a billionaire.
Right.
That's a whole other animal.
Yes, it is.
But if you just do it a little bit here and there, and the quarterback recruit they got coming in from South Florida is a perfect recruit. He's going to be the most important recruit of Rich Rod's era, in my opinion. I think he will play really fast for Rich Rod. You add him in, get a little excitement. Some of those kids will at least consider West Virginia, and they can become more prominent. Are they going to win a national title there? It's going to be really hard to do something like that because it's, again, in-state recruiting matters.
Yeah.
But there's no reason they can't be a top.
They've been close before. So.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
but at the same time, this is a different era. And Rich Rod's been around the block. He knows the South. He knows Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida. If you can get a few kids like Jiron, like some of those guys that are just really talented, but just kind of raw, if they have patience with them, they start to do better. At the end, you get a few 5 stars that they're the cherry on the top. That's how they're not going to get them now, but like maybe Kevin, like there's an obvious connection. Those kind of kids is different. But like Ohio State can go in on a recruitment and a Texas kid last minute, but it's Ohio State.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
It's a different animal. West Virginia is that school. They got to prove it on the field first. They need proof of concept. Even Notre Dame last year, nobody really believed they made that run to play Ohio State. They're getting kids to visit. Even Notre Dame didn't get. People want to see it. So like the last few games here for West Virginia, that stuff matters. And they're playing, obviously. I like the young quarterback, Fox, and some of these guys. They've got some talent. You get another class in, they hit on a couple of portal guys, you'll start seeing more Kevin Brown's visit from Ohio, from Virginia, etc. If you get them on campus, you got a shot.
Absolutely.
So, and every time you walk into a living room, you can say, hey, look, not only did we bring in Kevin, we gave Kevin a chance, and now he's playing for us. Maybe he rotates at right guard his freshman year with another guy. And then as a sophomore, he's pegged as the right tackle or something, whatever. That is how you develop and prove. Rich Rod's done it forever. When he was at Michigan, he had a few young linemen, like redshirt freshmen that played, and all of a sudden they started getting better linemen. It's amazing how that works. So, they can do it, but they need a few more things this year, I think, would be big. Like they need to win out, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. You know, I think one of the things that I've always wanted to see with this Rich Rod offense, and you mentioned at Michigan, but they fought against him, obviously, at Michigan. They didn't want him to change the culture from the Michigan culture to the hard edge culture that he likes, which is very no nonsense, really hard on the players as far as they practice really hard. And not that Michigan players don't practice hard, but the kind of things that Rich Rod puts his players through, not every 5-star has to put up with if they don't want to, right? So he's difficult to play for. I mean, he just is, right? I mean, that's just the truth. No TikTok. He wants everybody to be uniform, you know, in a day and age where kids have some freedom of expression. I'm not saying they shouldn't have. Rich Rod's pretty old school in a lot of ways. So, you know, there are quirks that make you wonder. But at the end of the day, I'm a big believer. I think a lot of other people are. We've seen it before. And we seen last time he was on the verge of getting, if he hadn't gone to Michigan, Terrell Pryor actually probably ends up in Morgantown with that offense. And that would have been really fun to see. When he left West Virginia, he chose to go to Ohio State. But West Virginia was on the verge of that, you know, and imagine, I've always wanted to see what, if Rich Rod could pull in a 5-star guy, or not that you have to have, but I would love to see elite players in this offense at West Virginia from a recruiting standpoint.
one or two guys. I mean, quarterback would be nice, but actually, I don't think quarterback's the key. I think Kevin Brown's more important.
Kevin Brown, way more important. Yeah.
Because
Give me Kevin Brown.
Linemen are the difference. I'll just wrap up on this point right here with this. Think about the following programs. When I say these programs, what you don't have to say it out loud, but for everybody out there, which position or positions pop in your head when I say these schools? LSU, Notre Dame, Georgia, Bama.
Yeah.
Big dudes that run you over. It is not real complex.
No.
My dude, better than your dude. You give a handful of those to a guy like Rich Rod, it changes things. And to that point, the first guy I first started talking to way back when, 30 years ago, was when Urban Meyer was at Notre Dame, like very potluck. You know who he used to always talk with? His main guy was Rich Rod.
Yeah.
The only difference is Urban, not that he was easy to play for, he's the best recruiter I've ever been around. It's not close. He could sell ice to Eskimos. If you give Rich Rod the same talent that Urban had, he'd probably have a title. I'm not saying he'd have 3 like Urban, but it's about players.
It is about players, yeah.
And if you give a few kids that UA kid coming in.
Yeah, tell everybody about him really quick. You mentioned him really quick.
Yeah, like his film is dope. He plays in South Florida. He's a little underrated.
Cardinal Newman, I believe.
Yeah, he plays in Palm Beach County, which is not the same as Broward, but it's still a very good program. He's learning to throw, and he's pretty good at it, but he's getting better. And he's a guy that can scoot. Like he's going to, but he can play free safety for you if you needed him to.
Mm-hmm.
You give that guy to Rich Rod, and again, you're just pushing the pile forward. You have more and more guys at that spot, more competition. It'll weed itself out. Mm-hmm. Maybe he's not the guy that ends up being, but if you sign guys like him that fit Rich's offense each and every year, somebody's going to hit.
Yep.
And I just think that's a great. Did anybody think the kid like his Fox? That's whatever his name is. Like, did they know? No.
But no, they didn't know.
But
he's playing pretty well,
considering how young he is.
Yeah. So for 300 yards in your first start is always a good thing. Yeah. And when you've had 30 dropbacks and you dice TCU up, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I was impressed with him.
Yeah, second start, you run for 2 touchdowns and almost 100 yards on. He's doing it different ways. He finally had some freshman mistakes last week. We'll see what he does this time. But Brian, thank you so much for coming on, brother. It really means a lot to have you on. I actually meant to have you on sooner than this from the last time we spoke because we both follow recruiting like crazy. You really do. It's literally your job. So I appreciate your time, man. And hey, look, if West Virginia nails some of these guys, I'll give you a list of some of the guys because I know you can't follow everybody that everybody's following. So if West Virginia hits, especially Kevin Brown, we'll have to cross over on that, and all that. So thanks for coming on, man. I'm going to do one more quick segment on the basketball game, but you can go ahead and jump out of here, and I'll talk to you next time, brother. Appreciate it. Everybody have a great day. Thanks, Brian. All right, guys. Thanks to Brian for coming on. We'll go to break, come back. Backyard Brawl kicks off in 19 minutes. I'm excited. Are you? This episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Right now, guys, the NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets from everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. Keeps every game exciting, even when your team's making a late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Can't win if you don't play. Head over to FanDuel.com today to get started. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Having a good time today. Hopefully you are. Really grateful to be here. I don't say it enough, but I'm very grateful to have this opportunity to talk West Virginia sports with you guys. It's literally, it's my life's is complete that I get to do this. I don't think you guys know, but I don't tell you, if I don't tell you enough, I mean to. I know there are people that think that I'm bad or maybe not great for the, everything, but at the end of the day, my love and heart is with the state of West Virginia, and it's with the Mountaineers. And the fact that I get to get on here and talk about this with you guys and that you guys watch, means everything to me. It literally, I'm not just saying that. It means everything to me. So thank you guys. We got a big one tonight in the backyard brawl. It kicks off in 17 minutes. So I'm not going to hold you long here. Just wanted to say as we go into this, let's not overreact one way or the other. I think Pitt is a really good basketball team. We're both going to be without players, remember, especially us. They have a player that's going to be a game time decision that's really good. So if he doesn't play and we win, we have to take it with a grain of salt. If our guys don't play and we lose, we'll take that with a grain of salt. But we'll react to what we see on the court tonight. I think West Virginia's got a great chance here because of their defense. And let's see what it looks like. But, Pitt's been really good up until now this year on the basketball floor. And Cummings, if you haven't seen him yet, it's averaging close to 19 points a game. So, they've got a couple freshmen that are playing really well, one of their bigs. And they're a team that is talented, and Jeff Capel's a good coach. Wouldn't say he's an elite coach, but he's a good coach, right? So let's check out the game, guys. I'll see you there. We'll be live here after the post game. We'll talk about it. Until then, guys, thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen. I'll see you guys after the brawl tonight. We'll be live here post game after the game. See you then.